Hey guys, so my name is Megan Pope. If you have not been following me for very long, I wanted to take a second and share with you really how I got into this world of coaching in the first place, share a little bit of my story with you, and share how this opportunity has completely changed our lives in ways that I never imagined. Because I know that if you are watching and following along, there's likely a part of you that's wondering if you could do this too. And I was there. I understand. I was full of doubt. I was full I was a skeptic. And 3.5 years in, my only regret is not doing this sooner. So if you don't know much about my story, I've been active most of my life. I was a high school athlete. I got into running after college. My husband and I both run marathons. I think I've run 25 halves, several fulls. I'm training for another full right now. So the whole idea of working out at home just didn't make sense to me. I was into CrossFit. I love going to the gym. I love going to classes. And, to be quite honest, when I saw transformation program pictures from different programs, I was really skeptical about how they worked. I kind of assumed that they just like picked the outlier, that not most people had that experience. So I was hesitant. I was curious, but I was hesitant. And at the time, my goodness, I think Nick and I looked into P90X3 maybe years and years and years ago, like when I just had Genevieve. And it was like insanely expensive. Like, I don't know, $300. It was really expensive. But at the same time, like I was fascinated by these transformation pictures, but I just kept telling myself like, that's not what every person gets. So fast forward a couple years, and I found myself in a place that sometimes we just don't know that's coming and we can't really anticipate. But I had had my third baby in 3 years. I had three kids under the age of three, three C-sections in 3 years. And I was struggling. I don't think it was postpartum depression, but I do think I was having a really hard time with postpartum anxiety. Our third baby was our first experience with a NICU baby, and it was already coming at a really hard time. People talk about new jobs, loss of loved ones, moves, births of children as being like some of the most stressful moments of your life. And we were doing all of those things at one time. My husband had received a promotion, and we made a job transfer to a new state for our third time. And I think about 7 years of marriage, under 7 years of marriage. So I went from having a community and support and a running group and a CrossFit family to not knowing anybody, with two small kids, pregnant with two small kids. I was a high-risk pregnancy, like I was with all of my pregnancies. I felt very isolated and very alone because it was a new job. Nick was working a ton. And additionally, we unexpectedly lost my father-in-law very suddenly. And if you've ever lost a loved one before, and it was the first loss of a parent for us, it was a really challenging time. And, I look back to that period, and it makes me a little bit sad because I spent so much time during those months of like March through November, and this was all in 2014, of just wishing time away. I was saying if I could make it to nap time, if I could make it to the weekends, if I could make it through just another couple weeks until the baby comes, if we can make it through what this NICU experience is going to be like. And I woke up one day in November and realized that I didn't recognize myself anymore. I was full of resentment. My stress was so high. I was so overwhelmed. I couldn't really make it through the day. I was like, being around me was like walking on eggshells. And I spent a decent amount of time blaming other people, blaming Nick, blaming not blaming my parents, but just feeling like nobody got it, nobody understood. And I was in the shower one morning, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, if I wanted real change in my life, it had to start with me, and I couldn't put my happiness on anybody else. So, after all of these years of being curious about these out-home fitness programs, I found myself in a place where timing was different, and I needed to do something for myself. I couldn't get out and run early in the morning. I couldn't take Charlie to the gym because he, like I said, was a NICU baby and he couldn't be left in daycare. And sometimes, what do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I had that insight of I need to do something different for myself. So I ordered PiYo from a good friend of mine. And there's something crazy that happens when people that you trust start telling you what's working for them. You're a little less afraid, and my good friend Sarah was one of my marathon training partners and running partner. And, I trusted her. And when she'd been doing these workout programs as cross training for like a year, she'd been drinking Shakeology. And I finally was like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to do it for a month or two, just to kind of like get my mojo back. I had no expectations of working this business. I still worked for a market research firm. And I signed up to find a cheaper way to do it, to get back to me. And within 2 weeks, I felt better than I had in months. And, there's something funny about I don't know if we take it as a sign of weakness sometimes, but we need accountability. We need support. We need to know that we're not alone, especially for new moms, young moms, moms that are just trying to figure this out. And all of a sudden I was plugged into this community where there was other people like me that have plenty of their own challenges, plenty of their own stressors, but were showing up every single day for this 30-minute block to try to be the best version of themselves. And that's really what I had to do. And within a couple weeks of doing this, I saw so much value in this community that I wanted to be, I wanted to share it. I wanted to help other people, other moms that felt isolated, other people that had just moved to a new city and didn't have a running community yet and didn't know the power of a group, and share it with them. So, like I said, I didn't get into this necessarily to quote unquote build a business, but I realized very early on that this was something really special and that could really help people. And back before I was a market researcher, I was a high school English teacher, and I loved being able to connect with kids, and I loved being able to feel like I was making an impact and serving others. And it was like the stars aligned. This came into my life at a time that I really needed it, and it filled that part of me that had been missing and lacking, by being able to help people again and help people in a way that was so accessible. And I've talked to people about getting into running or getting into CrossFit maybe, and they sometimes have a preconceived notion of that's something that they cannot do. And I felt like with these programs, it's something that anybody can do, no matter where they are on their health and wellness journey, no matter what their goals are. We are offering something that can truly enhance their lives. Nick and I always like to say we already ate really clean, but my goodness, were our portions out of control. And so I learned so much about nutrition. My energy started to pick up. There's this whole dynamic of coaching that focuses on, and inside our communities that focuses on self-care and self-love and self-growth. And that has probably been the biggest blessing of my life, because I've learned how to actively work on being better every day. And it's not about being perfect. It's just about showing up in a way that you are the best that you can be for your family, for yourself. I wasn't one of those little girls that sat around dreaming about my wedding and what colors my bridesmaids were going to wear. I was a person that sat around dreaming about having a family and was doodling like imaginary children's name on imaginary Christmas cards. And I found myself at a place where I had this family that I'd waited my entire life for, and I just wasn't showing up for them in the way that I wanted to. And one day that I wasn't okay with that. And this got me through that. And I believe in paying it forward so very much. So that's kind of how I got here. I've been a coach now for 3.5 years. By my second year of coaching, I had basically replaced what I was earning as a teacher. And I know sometimes it can be uncomfortable to talk about money and the opportunity side of things, but that is my only regret. I don't think I understood what opportunity there was here from a financial perspective, or I really would have looked into this sooner. The ability to still contribute to my family and do so in a way that I can do from home, I can do in pockets of time, I can do in a way that fits our busy life. Look, we have 4 kids, 7 and under. Between the ages of 2 and 7. We have busy lives. And I want to be able to take them on vacations and to send them to Catholic school. That's a priority to my husband and I. And none of that stuff is cheap, right? So being able to do something that really contributes to our family has been such an incredible blessing. It's been the result of a lot of hard work, but it's work on my terms and in hours that I set aside to do this, like I said, in a way that doesn't take me away from my family. Another incredible blessing that's come out of coaching is all the incredible relationships that I have made with other women and men too. You know, Nick and I do work with some other guys, but we particularly, personally had the opportunity to connect with so many different moms and ladies out there in such a positive way. And I feel like we live in a world where, you know, women supporting women and empowering one another and connecting with one another is so important. And this gives me a sense that I'm doing my part. And now that I have been a coach for 3.5 years and we have, we've finished as a top team, this 2018 and 2017, we finished in, the top 1%, less than 1% of the company. So I've been able to show other women how to have success and grow a business and stay home with their kids and leave full-time jobs. And I'm really passionate about continuing to do that because I want people to understand, I want moms to understand that they can have a life by design, that it's totally and completely possible. It does come from hard work, but it's absolutely possible. I think one of my other favorite things that has been such, kind of a trivial thing that's come out of this, but again, a tremendous blessing that we weren't expecting is the ability to travel with my husband. Big family, extra money oftentimes goes to all of the extra things that are needed in a big family. But that being said, we weren't taking any time for ourselves, and I think that our marriage is so much stronger than it was a couple years ago. Like, we've grown through this process together, and we've been able to get away on trips together, as a result of all of the hard work that's gone into growing our business. We've been to New Orleans, Nashville. We had a getaway to Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. We've been on a cruise. We've been to Punta Cana. We've been to Mexico. You guys, we weren't doing things like that before this business came into our lives. And again, it's the result of a lot of hard work. But I would, scroll through people's social media and be like, I want a job that we can travel and I can win trips and I can take my husband. That's not going to be in the cards for me. That's not in his job. That's not in my job. And feel kind of like salty about it. Does anybody still say salty? And the fact that that was something that was like felt that it was out of our reach, and within 3 years we've gone on 7 trips or so, as like I said, a result of the work we've put in is just a gift, and I feel very proud to be able to share that with Nick and take that time together. So, if you are thinking about this, if this is on your heart, if you are looking for an opportunity to really and truly create a life by design, I want you to give this a thought. I want you to think about it. I want you to reach out to me with what questions you have. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not a get rich quick scheme. This has come from hard work, but it's manageable hard work. And, I'm here to walk you through and to take your hand and to show you exactly what you need to do in order to grow a business so that you can live the life that you want. My only regret is not doing this sooner. I'm in better shape after 4 babies than I ever imagined. I'm happier than I've ever I was getting to a point that I was settling, right? And that's kind of my pet peeve in life. I never wanted to settle. I never wanted to settle as a high school student, as an athlete, when I was in college. Like, I just didn't want to settle. And I got into this rhythm where I was just settling. And I'm so thankful every single day that, I saw enough posts on social media and I saw enough people sharing their journey to shake me and be like, what are you doing? And now 3.5 years later, I've helped over 1,000 clients, and I hope that I've had some impact on their life, like the people sharing before me have had on mine. So, there's a lot of stuff on social media out there that's not done well and that's not done the right way, but don't think that that means that it cannot be done well, and it cannot be done in a way that is authentic and that is you, and that because of doing so, you will have access to things that right now are just kind of on a bucket list and on a dream list. So, that's my story. We are growing our team. We are looking for people that are ready to run and to grow and to create a life that is fueled by passion and intention and purpose. So I hope that we chat soon. And thanks for checking this out. See ya.